Good morning, and thank you, Meredith, for that kind and generous introduction. While we're gathering today under unusual circumstances, it has been a pleasure to see the thoughtful contributions of fellow participants throughout GSMA Thrive, featuring the CTIA 5G Summit. As we adapt to changing work environments, events like this are a testament to the continued dedication of those seeking to ensure that the United States is keeping pace to win the race to 5G and beyond. All of us participating in this event recognize that we are at a pivotal moment. The actions we take now will have far-reaching consequences for years to come. How many people can we connect to the internet? How many jobs can we create? And where will future innovation occur? The rollout of 5G presents new opportunities to shrink rather than expand the digital divide, create new well-paying jobs, and secure our competitive edge. However, realizing these goals will require a concerted effort across industry and the government. First and foremost, we need a national spectrum policy that outlines a clear strategy for advancing the 5G marketplace. The federal government and all of its many agencies must be in agreement about our shared goals and what needs to be done to achieve them. That means better collaboration to prevent unnecessary disputes and a collective urgency in making underutilized spectrum available for more productive uses. This strategy will help focus our energy on addressing the most pressing needs of the 5G economy, like shoring up our midband deficit. The United States continues to lag behind its international peers in making valuable midband spectrum available for commercial use. To catch up, a national spectrum strategy could help target underutilized spectrum and encourage federal users to make it available as quickly as possible. We can no longer afford to allow underutilized spectrum to remain gated off from innovators willing to put it to use in new, more efficient ways. And that's why I joined Congressman Guthrie to introduce the bipartisan Spectrum Now Act to provide federal agencies with funding to conduct research on making federally held spectrum available for commercial use. This bill will provide our agencies with the resources and certainty they need to free up spectrum across the federal footprint. Investing in efforts to identify, research, and ultimately unlock underutilized frequencies will help ensure that the spectrum pipeline remains strong. And luckily, we have some recent examples that illustrate the returns these investments can have. Just this summer, the FCC completed the CBRS auction that made 70 megahertz of licensed midband spectrum available for commercial use. And the FCC is on track to initiate the C-band auction that will free up another 280 megahertz of prime midband spectrum. As a congressional leader on this issue, I introduced the Win 5G Act that required the FCC to conduct a public auction to ensure this spectrum made it to market quickly while maximizing returns to American taxpayers. Combined, these auctions will provide 350 megahertz of licensed midband spectrum, and they show what we can do when we work on a bipartisan basis toward our shared goal of powering the 5G economy. However, in context, they also demonstrate how much work remains to be done. Other leading nations are on track to have an average of 660 megahertz of licensed midband spectrum in the next 2 years. The United States can and must keep pace. We have an opportunity with the recently announced plan to make the top 100 megahertz in the 3.45 to 3.55 gigahertz band available to full power commercial use. This additional spectrum is harmonized globally for 5G services and will help the United States keep up with its international peers. Unfortunately, despite this promising development, our lack of a concerted spectrum strategy has again made itself apparent. Only days after the FCC released its proposal for this ban, the Department of Defense requested information on the possible creation of a government-owned and operated 5G network on the same frequencies. This proposal threatens the important work of the FCC and NTIA, and worse yet, it could cause costly delays we can ill afford in bringing this valuable spectrum to market. With so much riding on the outcome of the global 5G race, now is not the time to pursue untested and unproven government technology. Instead, we should be reinforcing our support for policies that allow American innovators to move communications technology forward. In Congress, I've been working on legislation to help us do just that. In April, I joined Chairman Pallone, Ranking Member Walden, and Representative Guthrie in introducing the USA Telecommunications Act, which would authorize up to $750 million for grants to accelerate the deployment of open, standards-based 5G networks throughout the United States. In addition to the USA Telecommunications Act, I led a letter in May, signed by 37 other members, calling for funding to support the development and deployment of Open RAN solutions. As the global race to 5G continues, Open RAN solutions will spur increased supply chain diversity, giving mobile operators new options when choosing the vendor that best meets their specific needs. This can unlock more innovation, faster upgrades, and increased network resiliency. I also announced at the September FCC oversight hearing that I'm working on legislation to establish a wireless leadership agenda. The United States cannot rely on a piecemeal approach to securing our 5G future. Rather, we need to pursue multiple complementary policies simultaneously. What that means is supporting a workforce capable of developing and deploying 5G, promoting increased federal spectrum efficiency, and making strong commitments to research and development. From tower climbers to hardware engineers, the United States is in need of a workforce capable of deploying 5G at a rate that matches consumers' expectations. Unfortunately, we are far short of what we need. Some estimates show that we need to train an additional 20,000 tower technicians alone to meet the demand. Fortunately, this gives us a unique opportunity to boost federal investments in workforce training and apprenticeships. We know the 5G rollout can and should create new jobs. This is a prime example. We also need to build on our progress of asking more of the federal government when it comes to spectral efficiency. Many federal agencies are operating on spectrum allocated for technologies that have long ago become outdated. With this in mind, I believe we need a new quantifiable system for determining when federal spectrum is being underutilized. Without transparent open metrics for assessing federal spectrum, we don't have the data we need to make new spectrum available. And it is critical that we maintain a strong commitment to research and development. But this means more than just funding. It means finding new ways to allow academics and industry to collaborate and to encourage technology transfer from universities to the wireless industry. If we commit to these policies, I am confident the United States will remain the pace setter in the global race to 5G and beyond. I look forward to working with everyone at this event on all of these efforts. And I thank you for the invitation and for the opportunity to speak with you today. And thank you very much.